Hi, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of Business Chats with BNaz. We have a very fun episode we're going to do today with an old friend, his wife, who just got a business going, and Derek from the Three Guys is joining as well. So let me just do some introductions, and then we're gonna get rolling. So I want to introduce Amy Counts. Amy Counts is the founder of Amy's Own CBD Oil. Amy is originally from Long Island, New York, and has lived in many places, including Italy, Dallas, Houston, Jackson, and Connecticut. She currently lives in Boston with her husband, Tom. Through her travels, she has become a connoisseur of spa services. She's also a premier masseuse for her dog, Astro, to his complete joy. After years in the hospitality, spa, and wellness industry, Amy Counts was intrigued by CBD and wanted to explore how she could combine a professional experience with the wonderful world of CBD benefits. Amy has worked with her partners in Maine to design the right mix of glide absorption scents and organic ingredients to develop Amy's Own CBD oil. The high-quality CBD oil and its components provide a beautiful experience, whether used during a 60-minute massage, applied directly on an ache or pain, or supporting wellness for women by enhancing pleasure and easing discomfort. Amy's goal is to help educate people. Of course, we all want to stay, as she says, we all want to stay healthy and strong. Whether it's running, golfing, skiing, or playing tennis, these activities can sometimes result in soreness. Using her oil on these aches and pains, the full spectrum of CBD and organic essentials oils are a perfect balance that will absorb quickly into the skin for relief. Amy's CBD oil is a game changer for anyone looking to achieve wellness through plant-based medicine. So please welcome Amy Counts and her chief sales officer and husband and other half, Tom Counts. Welcome to Business Chats with BNaz, guys.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having us.
We're so psyched to be here, Brian.
Well, we're glad.
You guys had the longest intro ever.
Yeah.
That's all right.
It covered what it needed to.
Yeah, Brian was doing an infomercial there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
I lost my picture here. So before we get going, we want to hear about this business and what you guys are up to, how you guys got doing it. Before we record, you guys are talking about some stuff I thought was fascinating. How something probably a lot of people don't realize outside of using it for people is using it for pets. So I think maybe Derek will dive further into that, who has a dog and can learn more about that piece. So with Three Guys podcast, we always try to lighten things up a little bit, have some fun. Based on your guys' passion, some stuff you guys have been through, some of the stuff I kind of just talked about with Amy, where she's her background. But I'm gonna start with so I have a couple here. We'll do a couple now, and then we'll do a couple before we end.
Okay.
All right. So Tom, I'm gonna start with Tom.
Yeah. All
right, Tom. Pick one here. If you had to live in one location, Boston, Atlanta, or Washington, D.C.?
Boston by far. I loved Atlanta. I love Washington, D.C., but Boston's my home. I grew up in West Roxbury, about a mile and a half away from here. And I know all the shortcuts around town, so I feel very comfortable here. And it's a city that's, I think, is very safe, amazing people, educated people. With Berkeley School of Music, there's great live music all the time. I think that we feel very much at home here. And being in Rosendale Square, we're 3 blocks from the square. You can walk down and have great dinner options, have too many cocktails, and just walk home and not worry about it, So I love Boston.
What are some good memories of Washington, D.C. and Atlanta?
I think my favorite memories was that I used to have Sundays and Mondays off, and I was working, pretty much around the clock the rest of the time. But I would take the girls down to the National Gallery of Art, and they'd be like 1 and 3 or 2 and 4, and we would just walk through and get an appreciation. We talk about some of it. That at the time had a lot of impressionism exhibits going on. We talk about Monet, Manet, etc. And then senior year in high school, Natalie went to Boston Latin, and she went to Paris for 10 or 12 days for an art history class. And so I asked her, I'm like, why do you want to do this? Because there were trips to the Bahamas. She could have gone anywhere. And she says, remember when we used to go through the museums in DC, it just started an appreciation. There's so many amazing things about Washington that people just don't take advantage of. But while I was there for 8 years, and I felt like I took advantage of everything. It was an awesome time.
Yeah, Washington D.C. is a fun place to visit. Oh, I'm gonna switch over to you, Amy. Are you ready?
Sure, ready.
All right. So, a drive up to Maine or a flight to the Maldives?
A flight. A flight for sure. I love exploring new places. Not that I don't love Maine. Maine's absolutely beautiful. And since I moved to Boston, we've been to Maine, I don't know, maybe once a month and once every 2 months. It's beautiful. And, but I love travel and I don't mind hopping on a plane. I mean, we just came back from Hawaii in October and we were on a plane for, 14 hours. And I don't know, you make the time go. It's just fun. I still think it's glamorous.
What's the furthest you've ever traveled?
I would have to say it was Bali. I went to Bali.
Oh, so you've been to the is that what's the geographic name for that area of the world? What's that called?
Indonesia.
Yeah.
Indonesia. Yeah. So yeah, that was about 21 hours. So I had lived in Houston. Yeah, I lived in Houston, but
Eric would love that.
A friend of us hooked us up in first class going there. So we went from Houston to to Hawaii, to Guam, to Bali. But going back, we were not in first class, and that wasn't so great.
Nice. So I have one more. It's kind of as a follow-up, and then Derek, if you want to throw a couple, if you'd like to. So the first one, that last one is yoga in the park or a laugh with friends?
Or a laugh? Is that what you said?
A laugh with friends.
Absolutely a laugh with friends. I love comedy. I love laughing. I like making people laugh. I like when people make me laugh. That laughter is truly, like that saying, the best medicine. And that definitely.
And she's doing yoga like 3 or 5 times a week, depending on the week anyway. So she doesn't have to go to the park.
Which would be nice,
Nice. Tom, do you want to answer that one? A good laugh with friends or yoga?
I need more yoga in the park, but I tend to have a lot more laughs with friends, so I'd probably be disciplined and go to the park and do a little yoga, I do the puppy on a regular basis, cat and cow, I was able to survive a 15-minute yoga video for the elderly. So that's what I probably should be doing.
So during the pandemic, we worked out 3 times a week and walked to the Arboretum and did like 5 miles. So we really took care of ourselves and our health and wellness. But Tom learned some good yoga moves that he does now on his own when I'm not there. So rock on.
Tom, will you send us some videos of that so we can put it on our socials?
Never. I absolutely not. That's never going to hit the podcast world.
How much will you pay me?
Oh, right. We'll see about it hits. So, Derek, do you have anything you'd like to ask before we?
I'll ask just one question, just to break the seal. All right. If you could be an expert at any skill, what would it be and why?
Who would you like to answer this?
I'll go first.
Both of you.
I'll go first. Comedy. I would love to be on SNL. Like that would be my dream. That's the kind of stuff I would love. Yes, I love performing. I like to be in front of people, but really, I think being on SNL would be like a dream. And if I could get that skill to meet Lorne Green, is that his name?
Yeah.
Lorne Michaels. Lorne Green, he's dead.
He's a little Battlestar Galactica with that one.
Yeah. So I think that would definitely be mine.
That's a good one. I like that one.
If I could do anything in the world, I would love to be able to play the guitar well. I've been trying for about 45 years to play it, and I'm still mezza mediocre, but I would love to be able to do it well. So maybe I should focus on that in my old age.
Don't sell yourself short, Tom. I think you've sent me some. You sent me a Christmas jingle, I think, a couple of years ago on your guitar. I still have that somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's being very humble.
Wow.
Anyway, but
Nice.
I loved it. I love Amy and I love going to shows and seeing just about any live band. We're going Saturday night to like
an 80s
an 80s cover
band.
band, you know, but it's live and it's like
Yeah, yeah.
$15, you know.
Well,
But-
after coming out of COVID, you know, anything you can go to live now is a bonus,
Exactly.
right? Because you couldn't do this maybe up to a year ago, you know, to be doing anything live.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I just thought was kind of ridiculous, but I thought everything was ridiculous about that. But let's not go there. You know,
Move on.
we only have an hour, right?
Right. We don't need. I could go all day. So, who are you going to see? What band? What's the cover band? Like, what's the music they're covering?
We're meeting Danny and Christina at 5 o'clock at his house. And he's
That's all that
taking-
matters. You're just
that's
going
all
out.
that matters.
You're
They
leaving
got
the house.
dinner,
You're leaving the
we're going
house.
to see
That's
the
it.
band.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're driving, which
Yeah,
is even
he's
better.
designated
Nice.
driver. I mean, we got
Nice.
this thing covered pretty well, but I
Nice.
did not do the planning. I just said, yeah, I'll be there.
There you go. Well,
Now
so-
I think some of you are seeing Motley Crue.
Yeah, well, that's in August.
we
Yeah.
are. We're going to see
Yeah.
that show that's been postponed itself. I think three times, and there's a couple members of those bands. If they're alive by the time the show happens, we're going to be impressed.
Yeah. And
So-
I'm seriously looking forward to this. And the other Brian that's coming with us was just been texting back and forth this last week. So everyone's fired up, and it's going to be August before we know it. So
Yeah.
it's treasure every day between now and then, you know.
Exactly.
So
Agreed. Anything else, Derek?
No, we start right off.
All right. So we did a show in season 1. It was a cannabis convention, and it was interesting because I don't know the first thing about CBD other than what, you know, if I Google it or, you know, see online or whatever it is. And to me, it's one of those things that's kind of, people don't appreciate how important it is and its uses. And that was one thing I was thinking about this episode and about your product, Amy. So before we get going, I do want to talk a little bit about your journey to getting the company going, because you both have interesting professional histories. So Amy,
Right.
why don't you share a little bit about your professional journey leading into the launch of your company?
Yeah, sure. I'm a Gemini, which means I have twins, right? There's two sides of me. So there's this corporate side, business Amy, I call her, and she was in hospitality sales for almost 30 years. And then there's creative Amy, who, as I mentioned, loves comedy and theater, loves nature, wellness, and dare I say, a little hippie trippy. And in 2019, I decided to retire from the hospitality industry. But I really wanted to come up with how to combine all those skills and twins together.
Mm.
Fast forward, 2020, and a friend of ours up in Maine, he fell off a ladder and hurt his hand. And now he's very involved with the CBD community, the medical marijuana community up there. So he used every product known to man up there to help his hand, and only one product worked. And it was this CBD oil from this hemp farm lab up in Freiburg, Maine. And so he's telling us this story, and Tom's like, this could be a great thing for us, you know, a great introduction into how to combine and find your purpose and help people. So we did a lot of research. We did a lot of sampling, and most of those products, I will say, were either greasy, stinky, or more importantly, they didn't work.
Mm.
And except for the one from Freiburg. And we thought, wow, this is like a game changer, using this oil on parts that, you know, are sore, that you can't move. I get headaches. I mean, really, it was a beautiful oil. And so we approached our partners up in Maine, and we are now signed an exclusive agreement with them, and it's under Amy's Own. And here we are. here we are. Anything
Yeah.
to add, Tom?
Well, you know, the most critical thing was finding out, why did this one oil work, and really penetrate deep inside where pain was, and the other ones just didn't work. And if they did, they just took forever to get in there. So what our lab manager, Dan, was doing was he was using a full spectrum oil. So what most people do is they stuff the tube in a CO2 machine with hemp. They get it to a certain point, like about 1,600 pounds per square inch, and out drips the raw cannabinoid CBD. Okay, just so you can fill up a cup with it. And they put a little bit into cookies, and they do gummies, and they do shampoo and toothpaste, and
lotion.
About every product you ever can see, there is a CBD one version of it, right? So, but instead of doing that, Dan didn't strip away the terpenes and emollients and all the essential oils that help the cannabinoid absorb into your skin and get to work. And that's where the difference was. So basically, he developed this massage oil. He has a bunch of friends who are massage therapists. And so he really kind of took a long time in developing it, but it works incredibly well. And most importantly, has amazing glide. All right. But so it's designed so that you use about half an ounce of this in a 40-minute massage. All right. And it works great. You get off the table and you feel like you're 16, you know, but most people are like, hey, my shoulder hurts. They're not in for a 40-minute massage. So they're just rubbing a little bit on it. But for that, we needed something that was stronger. So we developed our full strength, full spectrum oil at 1,000 milligrams per ounce, one of the strongest in the market. And it's amazing stuff. And it's still the full spectrum, so everything goes in. But this is something you take a few drops of. You know, you hurt your wrist or something, you put it in there, and you'd be amazed at how quickly you suddenly feel nothing. And it's like when you take a pill, if you take an opioid, you know, you feel loopy, you don't feel any of that stuff. It's just that the pain, it's like, oh my God, that doesn't hurt anymore, you know? So it's definitely a natural, holistic way to deal with pain. And, you know, I spent almost 40 years in the hotel business, about 15 of them working with you and doing trade shows with you and walking around in these 18-hour days. And, you know, now at my age, you know, I don't get out of bed so easy in the morning, you know, I need a little help. And the full strength oil is amazing. One of the other products that we developed was the tincture, that you put a couple dropfuls under your tongue before you go to bed, or that's what I do on a pretty much a nightly basis. And it doesn't help you fall asleep. It's not like a drug, everything. But when you do fall asleep, you fall a deeper sleep and you sleep longer.
And you stay asleep.
I mean, there are sometimes, I'm going to be 57 in a couple of months. There are sometimes I've slept through the night, which I haven't done in like decades, you know? So it has an amazing effect, but most people use it for anxiety. And during the day, just to get through whatever their work day, they'll take a few drops, and it's calm, cool, relaxing. And it has a ton of benefits. So anyways, we were talking to our lab manager, I think a week and a half ago, and we naturally grilling him every time we have an opportunity to sit down with him.
Because he's like a crazy chemist. He's really quite amazing.
Brilliant. Dan is a brilliant guy. And so we were getting into the down and dirty about which essential oils, which terpenes and emollients, et cetera, did what. And a lot of this stuff hasn't been studied. They're finding, the more they study this, the more they find out about it on pretty much a regular basis now. On January 25th, it was just released that someone did a study where they had COVID-19 in a laboratory environment, and CBD killed it. All right. So now they're testing this on humans. I mean, we have a lip balm product, right? So this could be potentially great news, but they're testing it on humans. If it gets any traction, I mean, what a nice thing to have in addition to all the other things that CBD brings to a product. So,
and I had to learn a lot about CBD because I knew nothing about CBD. I knew about THC and, smoking weed and, stuff like that. But I too did not know about CBD. So I had to do a lot of learning about it and research. And that's kind of our mission, is to educate people on the natural, powerful benefits of CBD and how they can help you before you take a pharmaceutical, right? A medicine. Because, come on, everybody's sick of getting poked and prodded with shots and chemicals in your body. I always say, try something natural first. And if it doesn't work, you go to medicine. I'm all for medicine. Hey, medicine saved my husband's life. So, I'm all for medicine, but I'm definitely someone who believes in holistic ways first. Let's try this first before we put more poison in our body.
So, Amy, before, just as you were talking a little bit about some of the research that you did and before you got things going, can you talk a little bit more about what kind of research you did and how you compared this product versus maybe something else you were thinking of within the world of holistics? I'm sure there's so many options that are out there. Can you talk a little bit about that part of it?
Sure. So, as Tom mentioned, we have what we call full spectrum CBD. So the full spectrum is the one that's not totally stripped that you're going to add to a lotion, let's say. The full spectrum does have those fats and terpenes, and I always compare it to, taking a vitamin C pill, which would be what they call an isolate, right? As opposed to eating an orange, which still has some other vitamins and goodness to it. And that's kind of what full spectrum is. So when we started our research, like you said, there are so many products online. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. So the most logical place to start was, let's see who has an oil, who has full spectrum CBD and is going to have the same amount, say, as we did. So that it could be kind of like, comparing oranges to oranges. It wouldn't be fair to compare one of those isolates to our full spectrum because it wouldn't be the same. And so we started ordering, just some bottles of it. Like, really, we started out pretty basic. And for me, I just went online and just said, Google, what is CBD? What is that? And really just read a bunch of articles and I've had to read them over and over because, there's some big words in there and I don't know what they mean. So that's what we did. And we did massages with it, because our first product was the massage oil. That was our very first product that our goal was to introduce it to spas. And that, so you could go into a spa and say, hey, for $10 more, can I do the CBD massage? And then have the CBD oil all over your body and you will feel like a kid again. So that was our first thought, and then the pandemic happened. But the pandemic, it actually worked in our favor because it slowed down this process of starting a new business. And we really took our time learning and researching how do you build a website. I mean, I have no idea, like all these things that I never in a million years thought that I would be doing. And it's been really exciting, very exciting.
Amy did a fantastic job and all the legwork with the bank accounts and the LLC and setting up Square and, straight deposits here. And, I've been taking care of the monthly sales tax and some of those items, but it really has been a group effort. And as the economy has recovered, and, I think that our business is on a definite uptick. We can measure that. And every month has been great because we have a month last year to measure it against, right? So it's going very well, but I still think that the biggest opportunity for a CBD product is in the personal protective equipment arena. Every meeting that goes on, you get 3 sets of gloves, 5 masks, some sanitizer. And if it's a ski vacation program, why not put some lip balm in there? The CBD lip balm that we have is amazing stuff. And if you're doing a 5K walk at the end of the general session, give them some. We have small bottles of the full strength oil that you can have for less than $5 when you buy in volume. All right. It's something that says that we care. All right. And you're going to hear a lot less complaining about, oh my God, my knees hurt, but,
and I think it'll be a unique kind of swag bag, if you will, I mean, I think if you're the association, let's say, who puts it in their attendees swag bag, I don't know, I think you're going to be pretty cool as opposed to, oh great, another pen or another flash drive.
Oh, yeah, big time. I like to have CBD oil in my bag.
Yeah, all
Right?
day, every day, right?
Oh my God.
It would be great.
So that's where we've been targeting that arena. We're still moving full forward on the spas. We're getting rave reviews on the oil, and that's the most satisfying thing is to have people reorder and brag about your stuff. And Amy was stopped the other day on the street talking to someone, and the guy was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're Amy," because he had 2 bottles of Amy's Own,
which was so cool.
So it's just nice getting the word out that we have a quality product, because there are hundreds of CBD products, and a lot of them don't work as effectively as ours do. So, part of what we're thinking is we know a lot of people in the business, and, this is a perfect hotel mini bar item. A lot of hotels don't have mini bars.
No, they're gone.
But a lot of them have like different bottles of stuff around the room, like at the W's, etc. So, if you drink that bottle of wine, you're going to be whacked for $60, right?
Yeah.
But in the right hotel, I couldn't think of any place better than the Amy's Own Love Potion. I bet that would be an item that would sell like hockey. So
such a great name. So Tom, I want to pause. I want to back up just for a second, because we haven't talked about the Tom counts, and you're the chief sales officer of the company. But talk a little bit of, I guess, let me back up for a second. So Derek, when a year ago now, when we were talking about this podcast, and we were going through interesting people who had just crazy stories, I want you to know Tom was on the list. I want you to know he's going to be on the Three Guys soon, just to talk, because he has been through a lot, and Amy touched on a couple of things quickly. But Tom, I don't want you to go too deep into stuff, but talk just a little bit about your background, obviously, into where you are now. The quick version, because the longer version we're going to have you on the Three Guys. The
elevator story.
What's the elevator?
I started at the Sheraton Boston. I was 17 years old. I had dropped out of Madison Park and thought I never wanted to go to school again. And my mother asked me in September, said, "Are you going to pay rent or go to school?" So I said, "How much is school?" So I went to Bunker Hill Community College for the hotel, and the culinary program is what I majored in. And had a blast, got good grades. It took 3 years working full time at the Sheraton Boston, and then going to school at night. But then after that, I went to UMass Amherst into the HRTA program. And then after that, the Sheraton Washington as a management trainee. And then I was assistant room service manager, and then general manager of the 3-meal Courtyard Cafe, and then manager of all the F&B outlets. And then I went to the Washington Court Hotel as the food and beverage manager. Had a great time there. And one of my former bosses went to the Kennedy Center, Larry Goldman, and I was the general manager of the Roof Terrace Restaurant and the hors d'oeuvre lounge on top of the Kennedy Center. And it overlooks the Lincoln Memorial and Memorial Bridge. And it was the most profitable job I've ever had. I mean, ever. It was an amazing gig. But I was through it all. I had 2 young daughters and was going through a hellacious divorce situation. So the girls moved to Atlanta, and I moved down there without a job. And I wanted to get a job. I thought, what's the easiest job in the hotel business where I could have weekends off for the kids? And I thought sales would be the easiest job. And I was dead wrong. But I talked my way into sales at Hyatt Regency Atlanta. Then I left to join meetingmakers.com for a year and a half. And when they lost their shirts in the high tech market, I went back to the Sheraton Atlanta. And the Sheraton Atlanta, I was there for 13 years when I met you. And I had the Northeast market. So I was doing every MPI meeting I could go to. And there's different things. I'd always run into Brian Nazarian, that crazy kid. And so then I got an offer from the Sheraton Grand Chicago. And I went out there for 3.5 years. But 2 years into it, I had found out that I had leukemia. So I took off 8 months for medical leave. And then the nice thing is, so I took off and I claimed a short-term insurance and they denied it. They said it was a previously existing condition because I just started the hotel. So a couple friends of mine, Bill Hickman predominantly did most of the work for Kathy Kelly as well, and Paulette and a bunch of people, put together a golf tournament to raise money for me. And they raised and gave me more money than my short-term disability would have been. So it was really kind of a blessing in disguise. But you find out who your friends are. All right. I mean, I was, lying on a bed, just about dying. And it just, the recovery from that was rather amazing. And, you just want to do things to make the most of each day and each relationship. And so my co-workers at the Sheraton Grand Chicago, while I was out from February till September, kept my numbers going. When I came back, I actually beat my numbers in both of those because I think it was on half a year. I beat both of them and bonused, thanks to mostly Hillary Rosenthal, Lauren Silverman, and James Bristow. Just amazing people. And, it just showed me how much a human connection means and how important they are. And I'm blessed to say I'm friends with all of them to this day. So anyways, I, got well and I had an offer from the Boston Park Plaza and worked there. And, we started kicking this into high gear when I got furloughed almost 2 years ago. So I had the time off. We had the ability to kind of put things together from an operational standpoint, being able to get out large amounts of packages in a very efficient and time and money conscious way. And mostly just for the customers, when they order something online, they want to see it quick. So we've got that down to like 3 days most of the time. So, I've enjoyed going out into these different spas and educating people and giving them samples and having them buy quarts. If you buy a quart, you get down to $5 an ounce. You use about half an ounce of the thing. If you're charging $10 for the upgrade, that's like hotel profits. You know what I mean? So it's really been amazing working people through this aspect of their business operation that's going to help them make profits. But mostly, I don't have the guts to say this to most massage therapists, but the CBD oil that we have is effective. If you're a Metza mediocre massage and you use this oil, people are going to be like, oh my God, I feel fantastic. You know what I mean? And if you're really good, then it's off the charts. I mean, I have a lot of massages these days, Brian. I love my new career. And, it really makes you feel dynamite, So I've been sending out samples, giving away samples to people and asking for feedback. And I've had 2 people out of the hundreds that we've sent out. I've had 2 people say this has done absolutely nothing for me. And I was like, go to a doctor.
Yeah, then you need to go to the doctor.
You know what I mean? Like, you have a bigger issue than, anti-inflammatory is going to fix, So anyways, I just feel very blessed that all throughout that process, I know you were supporting me and my family and, everything. And I appreciate that, Brian.
Oh, you're welcome, man. I will say that in our industry, because it's the only industry I've known since I've been out of college, there's some really good people with good hearts.
Absolutely.
And that's for sure. But Tom, if you want to send me $50 back from that overflow money, you could.
Okay. All right. When you see us post for the yacht, then I'll send you 50
Right.
back.
I want to give Derek a chance to ask some questions. Go ahead, Derek.
So is your oil being used at some big time massage places, or just like just individual cell phone massage places? Because I'm wondering, because I used to go to Massage Envy, that was never presented to me at any time saying, hey, you want to use we have CBD oil, you want to get involved with that. So that's why I'm asking, because I think people would be interested to find out where they can use it.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And so we're in the process right now of trying to get onto the preferred vendor list with some major companies that manage spas. One of them in particular, it's 270 properties. They have 2,500 employees. And so we are just working out the final paperwork on this. And, we're going to let everyone on social media know, but it is a big deal to be part of their customer relationship management initiative through the products that they give them. So it's an honor that they consider us good enough. And these are, their spas are in Ritz's and St. Regis's all over the place, right?
Yeah, very high end.
So we're working on that. But as far as Massage Envy is concerned, I'm working with their procurement department to try to get to do the same thing. And we have kind of sectioned off about 15, 20 different companies that have more of a global reach. And we want to do that. We're also working to get onto one of the distributorships that handles a lot of the Boston hotels, so that it becomes very easy for people to order that. You don't have to have a new vendor or something like that. And when people are looking for customer gifts, we do custom labels, by the way, right? So if you are doing a trade show, if you want to rock that trade show, some CBD oil. I mean, seriously, people's reaction to this, look at your smile, right? You get a little bottle of that, you're like, wow, this is awesome and creative, So I think there's a big opportunity there.
Which is why, Tom is our chief sales officer, because it's starting to grow and starting to get big, because why? Because the stuff works. That's truly why. And I go out and do my stuff. I'm doing markets and farmers markets, and I'm always talking to people about the oil. But this is great for Tom to, this is what he does. This is his jelly, right? Like, he's like, I'm going to call these people, and it's really been working out. And he's a sales guy, like I am, and the rest of us. And he's like a dog on a bone, and just keeps going and doesn't give up. But he has a really nice, I hear him. And he has a really nice way about him, and he has that radio voice, so people dig it. And it's really been working well.
You have the passion for it. You have the passion, and you're doing something that you enjoy. Most people can't say that.
And I get to work with my wife every day. It's been amazing.
Is that because she's sitting next to you saying that?
No. We only got married 2 years ago.
We're newlyweds.
We're still on the honeymoon.
Okay. All right. Well, then that makes sense.
In fact, we spent our honeymoon in the pandemic, and it was the best 17 months of a honeymoon ever.
And listen, you're talking to a woman that's been to Bali on a honeymoon. and we had a better time here.
Yes, absolutely. We had a good time.
I wanted to ask the question because a lot of people, there's a misconception that if I'm taking CBD oil, they think it's marijuana. And you have to try to explain to people so can you go into a little detail and just explain that so people understand that it is not the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally not.
So every marijuana plant has THC, also has CBD, also has CBC, and about 100 other components. Now, what CBD does for the body, what THC does for the mind. THC kind of calms the mind or whatever, makes things funnier, maybe increases your appetite. Yeah. How many cancer patients did I meet that would love to have that to help them have an appetite so they can eat through this horrible thing? Yeah. Chemo has a lot of, the THC side has a lot of benefit. All right. But the CBD, it just works on your body. All right. Now it does work on the anxiety. It does work on arthritis. It works for headaches. Amy rubs, she gets like real migraines.
Yeah, I get migraines and I put it here right before I see it. I get like an aura, right? And I could catch it. And I used to just take an Advil, and now I just put it here. I put it here. I put it on my neck, and I don't get the migraine. And I was like, whoa, this is real stuff, People put it on there. Some guys use it for either aftershave or while they're shaving, and put it on, because again, it calms your body. It's an anti-inflammatory. I put it under my eyes at night, sitting here on the couch one night, and I'm like, hey, wait, it's an anti-inflammatory. I'm gonna put it under puffy eyes, and it works. I mean, really, it has so many things that we probably don't even know that it does yet. Yeah. But the way I think of it is, it calms your body and it takes the edge off the pain. It's not a cure. It's like Tom said, the people who say, oh, it doesn't work, then you probably need to go see a doctor, right? Yeah, exactly.
But just to get back to the question. What the horticulturists have done is that the hemp that they grow for our CBD is very, very high in CBD and very, very low in THC. Now, because they use a different pressure point to process this. There's a machine about twice the size of the couch and 6 feet high that is a CO2 machine, and they can get to a certain pressure point and the CBD drops out. They get to another pressure point and the THC drops out. So they can run this stuff twice for either, but actually they really run it a few more times, because there are things like CBCs and they look for certain isolates at different points, but they can separate it. And all of the product that we use is batch tested. And so we get a report. Now, every report that I've gotten has been at 0.0% THC. There are allowances to 0.3% THC. It has something to do with the act that initially passed in Maine. It has to be less than 0.3, but I've never seen anything higher than 0 in the reports that I've got.
And all of our stuff is lab tested.
Yeah.
A lot of products are not lab tested.
Well, there are a lot of homegrown businesses. We're just very fortunate that we can partner with like one of the best labs in the state of Maine.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Tom, let me ask you this during your sales pitch to people. Yeah. What's the most common pushback, or what are the most common pushbacks you're getting from people?
Well, I get a lot of people that just want nothing to do with CBD simply because it's marijuana originated. I mean, back in the day, I know none of you guys have smoked pot since high school, I'm sure, but there was some weeds. There were some weeds going around, like Panama Red as an example, where you would get a real high, but you'd also get a physical high, and that's because they're so high in the CBD and the THC. Mm-hmm. And by separating them, the CBD just really deals with the physical, and because the brain is a physical thing, it's the organ that controls everything. When that's set in a good place by the CBD, then it even cures schizophrenia. And how many of those do we know? I mean, so I think that, the fun part is getting the word out to people that really, really need help. And one of the things that Amy's doing is talking to people in assisted living facilities and sharing the information on CBD, and then she gives everyone an opportunity to buy some, and it's been very popular. But the people that need this the most know the least about it, and a lot of the people my dad's age were just like, forget about that's weed. I want nothing to do with that, but get me 3 martinis and we'll be fine.
Like I wish my mom was still alive, because she had really bad legs and feet, and I wish I would have had this product, when she was alive, because I think it really would have helped her. We have a customer who has diabetes, and he gets, I'm going to say this, neuropathy in his feet, and he can't stand. And every morning he rubs the Amazone on his feet so that he can get up and walk around. And I always thought, oh gosh, my mom would have benefited from that. So I just see a lot of people. I see a lot of people all the time, and I just want to go, I got something for you. Like these yoga classes, most of the people in there, I would say, are between 50 and 70. And what I started doing is taking my bottle on my mat and putting it on my shoulders, because I do need it. I really do need it for my shoulder. And then, once in a blue moon, somebody will look over and go, oh, what's that? And I'm like, oh, here, would you like to try some? And then they try it, and then they do the class, and they're like, wow, that was great. Like my knees always hurt when I do yoga, or my arm, or I couldn't, I don't have, I can't reach up. So, it's just, it's one customer at a time, that's what it says. That's what our mission statement is, really, educating people one customer at a time.
Well, I think one of the things is too that you have is you guys sell it online, right?
Yes.
So, if it was marijuana, you couldn't sell it online because you could be crossing state lines, and it's classified as a narcotic at that point in time. So I think that's one way to explain it to someone. Listen, if I can sell CBD online, it's not marijuana. I wouldn't be able to. States that don't even have legalized marijuana sell CBD.
Yeah, it was legalized about 6 years ago now. And so we've never had an issue of anything between state lines. And actually, in working with things that used to shy away from it, like Square and different bank systems, it's really opening up, and people at the mainstream, the United States, is seeing the benefit of it. And for years, Big Pharma was really out to squash anything with marijuana, which is why it hasn't been researched as much as it should be by now. It's like kind of what the tobacco industry did to marijuana. You know what I mean? Just as far as making sure that it was illegal to protect itself. Pharmaceutical has a stake at least they think so. But in all honesty, right now, I had leukemia. I healed up 6 years ago. I'm still on 14 different medications a day. All right. And none of them are opioids, thank God. Right. But, there are pills that I would have to take that would cause reaction in other pills that I'd have to take. Yeah. And CBD doesn't cause any of that. I have not heard of any situation that was caused as a byproduct of CBD being in there. So if you can eliminate medications, then maybe there's a medication that's even better than the one they had you on and more effective for what you need, that would have conflicted with something else. You know what I mean? So I think that the CBD manufacturers and big pharmaceutical need to work together as partners. Pharmaceutical is not the answer for everything. I'm sorry. It's not. It's keeping me alive, and I'm in fantastic health. I feel lucky and blessed. I mean, but when I had shoulder surgery last July, my doctor could not believe my progress. She asked me what I'm doing. I said full spectrum CBD oil, and Dr. Miller, exactly, Suzanne Miller, is just blown away. Now, is she going to recommend this for her clients? No, she really can't. There's being a conflict of interest, I think, But from a personal standpoint, I was really psyched to see that it was able to help me make that much of an impact in my recovery.
Well,
can I talk about one of the products?
Yes, of course.
All right, they're all great, and I mean that for real. But one of the products, and we're all grown-ups here, is our love.
Let me rephrase that. We're not
love
really. The two of us over here.
Karen, can you go on mute for a few minutes? Tell us about the love potion, Amy. That was going to be one of my questions. Tell us about the love potion.
So, the love potion is a CBD lubricant, and it is for intimacy. And I'm sorry, but people have I don't want to say problems, but there's painful intercourse, there's dryness, there's things that make you not want to play. And I'm telling you, the love potion, because the CBD helps with the painfulness, and then the oils are beautiful and they help for the fun. So people I know who have the love potion, they keep it right on their nightstand and they travel with it. And it's I highly recommend it if even if you don't have painful sex. I think that it's fun and it keeps you, the CBD is great because it keeps you kind of healthy. So and it's not sticky and it's not icky and it doesn't stain your sheets and
Yeah.
I had no idea that was available for lubricants.
It's 260. It's 269 milligrams per ounce. All right, because you need less of it, but and it's got
Does it make you feel 16 again too?
Yeah.
Well, it helps everybody. I was just honored to be a test pilot for that program.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
it twisted your arm to get a part of that one, huh?
Yeah, so that worked out quite well. But I'm a big fan, and I tell you, it's helping people.
It was actually suggested by a gynecologist, and he was like, "You should be making a lubricant." And I'm like, "Are you for real?" And he's like, "Absolutely." He goes, "You ever see what's in those lubricants?" He goes, "But the CBD is a natural healer." Yeah. And I'm like, whoa. So that's how we came up with the love potion. And I highly recommend it for fun and frolic.
So Amy, I'm looking at your website and I see the Amy's love potion. Are you expanding your product line at this point? Are you focusing just on what you guys have?
We're probably looking at doing maybe some stuff for pets because I'm a huge animal lover. And let me tell you, us animal lovers, we're crazy about our pets and we'll do whatever it takes to make them feel better. And we always get questions, do you have CBD treats? Do you have tinctures? So we are working with the lab on creating that because I think that, as you can see in the picture, Astro is kind of my sidekick on our website. And I think that it would really help people to have a good product, knowing that they're giving this to their treasured family member, the doggy or the cat.
My father stands by it for the dog. That's my dog. He like I was telling you before, we started. She blew out both her back legs, and she's older now, and he gives it to her, and she's a little bit spry. No, you see her now bouncing around a little bit more. So my father stands by it as well. He stands by it for himself to use this, but that's the next big thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. For something like that, the full strength, full spectrum oil to rub directly on where the tears are is the best application for that. And it sounds like that's what your dad's doing. So I'm happy for everyone involved.
Yeah. But we'd like to see that added to our portfolio. You don't want to have, I feel like you don't want to have too many things because then it kind of takes away from really what you're trying to focus on. So I think the pet thing will be the next big thing. The lip balm is awesome too, I have to say. I was sitting on my couch one day using a lip balm.
Burt's Bees or
something like that. And I put some of my Amy's Own oil on it because I thought, I had a cut on my lip, and I put it on, and I'm like, 5 minutes later, the cut healed up, and I'm like, I know what we're gonna make next.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it was great, and it has sunscreen, and it's a really nice product, and makes for good stocking stuffers all year long.
Yeah, what I like about the lip balm is that we went to Dan and said, we've got an idea for the lip balm. And he said, I've been thinking about that as well. And he said, there's two ways to go. One is you have it a little soft and it's easy to apply, but then it runs out quicker. And the other way is to have it a little bit firm, and you got to maybe rub it on twice, but it lasts longer.
Yeah, it does
And,
last.
and I said, let's go for the last longer so that the CBD, can really take effect for a longer period of time. And so it's really good stuff. We've been getting rave reviews on that. And it's again, you buy it in bulk, it's less than $5 and, per item. So in doing a group, I mean, it falls within the budgets that I've seen for swag at events, so
Right.
anyways, that's why we're trying to target that audience.
You've convinced me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good. Well,
I think it's
we need to send over a couple of little samples for
So-
you guys. Just in a tie shoot.
Listen,
Oh, listen, I love samples.
listen. We'll drive to Razi with our little goodie bags, like they do, like our clients used to do at those conventions, and just dump about 100 of them in. So,
Yeah.
just kidding. I'm just
Right,
kidding.
Mr. Nazarian, you retired from this business 10 years ago. You still attend. Yeah.
Exactly. So just kind of what Derek just talked about, his interest in it. You're on all the socials. Someone wants this. The best way for someone to purchase. What do they do, Amy? How do they get a hold of it?
The best way is to go to the website and just go to amysown.com. It's super easy to order. I have all the information about the products, but if somebody has a question, I love answering questions, and so you can text me, you can email me, you can message me on the website. I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook. Sometimes I'm on TikTok, but it's I haven't decided if I like that avenue yet, but that's the best way to do it. I mean, really, we're very, very accessible.
And just for everyone's edification, it's amysown.com.
Easy peasy. Amy's Own.
And this
Well, you may get a lot of questions about the lubricant.
Yeah.
And they're all going to be from you, Derek.
Meaning Derek.
I'll gather questions from others to submit.
Yeah.
Others, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So there's your website's great. It's got I was on it today. I did notice that. Love the potion. It's great. Sounds like a great product. So Tom, maybe just in terms of before we get back to some fun stuff again, from your end and the chief sales perspective, what's your vision of the business development, and where are you obviously trying to get into the convention, but what are your short-term plans at this point?
Well, it's really kind of three-pronged. We're aggressively soliciting any spa that you would be proud of to send your mom to. All right. We're not addressing anything that wouldn't stand up to that test. Right. And we're also reaching out to chiropractors. A lot of chiropractors in their normal routine will use an oil, and the anti-inflammatory nature of the CBD oil it's just an amazing experience, and people have great results with it. I go once a month to Dr. George Audi in West Roxbury, and he does an amazing job. He also uses our oil and is one of the retail locations. So if you're in West Roxbury, Dr. George is the man. But part of what he does is he's stretching out my lower back and using that oil in the process. Not just, I like getting my back cracked and neck and all that stuff, but he has an amazing machine. It really stretches it out. And I guess that anti-inflammatory nature just gets in and makes it feel better, And I deal with a lot of pain. There's not just the motorcycle accidents in football. But go through a couple of bone marrow transplants, see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really great to be involved in something that makes me personally feel good. We use this stuff on a pretty much a daily basis.
Excellent.
And I love the product. I'm proud of it. I'm just so psyched that it's taken off, that people are purchasing, using, loving, and buying again. And we're trying to keep the price point at a point where it's reasonable. I think that we have a top of the line product for a middle of the road price.
Right.
It's a value, but we can do that because, we haven't paid Gronkowski $1 million to be on our list.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Or Martha Stewart.
He was big into that too. He was big.
We have we have Amy as the face of the product, and how lucky are we to
I have
have
a question.
that?
Amy, can you run routes? Can you do the down and in?
I can.
Yeah.
Hey,
Now,
I
did
gotta
you
get it done.
ever get involved with Cannabis Week?
We have not yet, other than seeing a little bit of it at the Heims.
Yeah, because we had someone on that was part of Cannabis Week. That's why
Right.
I was just wondering if you ever got involved with it.
We have not yet. However, that's one of many things on our wish list.
Yeah.
And as everything comes up and we see it, we're going to get involved where we can. Right now, we're booking up the calendar. We've already got a bunch of farmers market dates set for Rossi Square. If anyone is, they call it like Main Street, Rosendale Village, but really Rossi Square that I grew up walking around in was nothing like it is today. We have a fantastic community of people, and they're selling homegrown products at just for good causes. And if you want to spend locally, I mean, you're gonna spend no matter what, right? Prices are through the roof, but at least support some of these local businesses,
Local small business owners.
Yes. We go down there, we joke around. We bring one of these grocery bag things down, and wind up spending $40 just stuffing it with stuff from these different markets. But it's so much better when it's fresh, and they've got some nice products out there. But it really is a community, and if these Saturday mornings in the summer in Rossi Square, I urge you to come out. You'll enjoy
it's really
it.
fun. They have live music, and a DJ, and it's a good time stuff for kids. But I love doing that stuff because, like I said, I'm a performer, and I love getting in front of people and asking them about it and telling them about it, seeing if they know what CBD is, educating people. We had one woman walk up to the table one time, and she said that her surgeon has been trying to figure out how she could get her arm to feel better, and they've been trying all these different things. And I said, well, here's a sample of the full strength, full spectrum, put it on, walk around, let me know what you think. She came back, she bought like 2 bottles. She's like, oh my God. She goes, this is the first time I can move my arm. And I'm like, for real? And she's like, absolutely. She goes, this is great. And I said, well, don't forget, walk around the farmers market telling people. But it was really, for me, it's so rewarding because that's what we want to do. Yeah, we're a business and all that stuff, but I love that it helps people feel better.
And I can tell, I can probably picture that person talking to the person's name who's on the bottle and having a little bit more confidence. So
I think that girl was how we got to Murphy. She told her friend who has Murphy, the dog that was barking. She called up, left a message for Amy or an email for Amy. And then I called her up and said, hey, how can I help? What questions do you have? And she told me a story about Murphy, the dog. And I'm so blown away how well it works. I mean, she's just giving this to him on a regular basis. She's responding well. And, the neighbors don't hate her anymore. You know what I mean? Because of the barking. Yeah. She's such a wonderful, wonderful woman. So anyways,
worked out great.
Those little things are kind of the wins that you get every day. And, I'm like sending Amy out on the trade shows of the world to be the face of the brand. And while she's doing that, I'm just trying to contact everyone on our long growing list of people that we can partner with in distribution. And really, the preferred product list is probably going to be the best route to success, but it is a process. It takes a while, even getting to the right person. You talk for a few times, but we're getting a lot of positive feedback, and I feel like it's going really well. And I'm just grateful to have this opportunity. Kind of, if I wasn't having so much fun at work, because I got to work with you, Brian, but I got to work with amazing people. The Sheraton Atlanta, the Sheraton Grand was awesome. I love the Boston Park Plaza, that whole team there. They turned a hotel that was the last cell in the city into one of the first cells. They're doing a great job there. And, I hated to leave that group. I just loved them all. But this opportunity was taken off, and it was the right time to jump in. So I'm so glad that we did, and we really appreciate your continued support. And I think that the more people that try the product are going to want to buy the product. It's that good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be putting an order of
before that, do you like offer, other than farmers markets, is there any way if someone wanted to say, or you offer samples that people say, okay, try figure out which one you like the most, or because you don't have to go out and buy something, the full thing, and say, hey, it didn't work for me, maybe I'll try the lip balm or something else. Do you guys have something like that, or is there any other way to get a small sample somewhere else other than farmers markets?
Yeah, Derek, what we have is this little 1 milliliter bottle that we have. It's a little sample, and Dan puts a little more and he fills it all the way up. So it's probably 1.5 milliliters, but we have that for the full strength oil, and we have it for the tincture. The tincture, you take that bottle, put it under your tongue, let it sit there 30 seconds, and then swallow. And with the oil, it's the full strength oil. If you had a problem with your shoulder or your back or something, you take that whole bottle and just rub it in, and it absorbs into the skin. There's for a couple of minutes, it's oil, you know what I mean? But then it'll absorb in, and I think you're going to have a positive effect. I mean, there are very few people that have said, Tom, this is horrible. Now, one of my good friends, and he's a little bit, he calls himself a brickhead. He says, this stuff isn't working for me. And
that's funny. I'm trying to figure out who he's talking about. Don't say
I'm not
it.
going to say it.
But I'm like, there's a lot of those.
So I said, okay, well, if it doesn't work, try 5 of them. Well, it turns out that it does work, but he takes 10 times as much as I do to do that. Different people have different levels of it too, So a lot of people, all they do, and they reorder time and again, the massage oil, and they're using the massage oil just like we use the full strength oil for, you know what I mean? But it has that much of an effect for them, so we, had to be at the right point of, how many milligrams does the average person need to feel like a 16-year-old kid in a 40-minute massage? And that turned out to be about half an ounce. Sometimes with a larger body like mine, it might be a little more than half an ounce. But then you're walking away with 25 milligrams of CBD, and that in your whole body has an amazing effect with full spectrum CBD. If it was not full spectrum, it wouldn't be as effective, but it is. So
that's great.
Well, we're gonna have to get some samples to the 3 guys. I'm already thinking for my mom, because she hurt her leg. She fell a month ago before she was traveling, and she had to come home early. And they think she might have a tear in her ACL. So she might be a good.
Oh man.
That so.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Right?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, no, she's
not going to
no surgery.
The ACL, but
but it might help with the pain. There's no surgery. So before we go to Derek, did you have any remaining questions? So I just have 2 pick ones. They're both for you, Tom.
Okay.
I just know, Amy, I'm sorry. But before we do that, you gave us your website. It's amyzone.com. And I'm assuming it's at Amy's Own on all the socials on Instagram.
Yeah, it's Amy's Own CBD oils. Yeah.
All right, cool. And I know we're connected online. We're gonna put some fun artwork together.
Great, thank you.
On with this stuff. So, all right, here we go. So, Tom, you ready? I got 2 for you, and Derek, you have 1 after. All good.
Okay.
All right, Tom. Best concert. Derek's heard this one before. I'm tweaking it a little bit. Derek's heard it probably twice now, so I'm tweaking it. Your favorite Boston concert venue. I'm going to give you 3 to pick from. I've normally done 2, but I'm going to add a 3rd one. It's a little tricky. The Boston Garden, the original one, the Centrum in Worcester, or the Rathskeller.
The Rathskeller by far. I've seen more great music in the Rathskeller than anywhere, and a lot of it being in the punk and rock. It was just perfect. So I was very fortunate to get to hang out there quite a bit.
In between the Garden and the Centrum, which one?
Well, I've seen some amazing shows in both of them. I would probably say the Worcester Centrum, because you'd not be sitting behind a pole, which happens on occasion. But I'll tell you, the Mullins Arena at UMass.
Yeah, Mullins, yeah.
I've seen some amazing 2 shows with Velvet Revolver there. And probably about 12 feet from the stage, Scott Weiland, RIP. Just an amazing, 2 amazing shows that I thought at the time, this is the best damn concert I've ever been to. And then I
saw them in the Garden in the 90s. This is when he was off and on his addictions, and one of the best shows.
What, Stone Temple Pilots?
Yeah, one of the best. I never saw Velvet Revolver, but I love their music. So my last one here again is music. That's the variable. I mean, that's the common denominator here. Ready? 3 lead guitars. You got to pick your number 1. You ready? Mick Mars, Warren DeMartini, or George Lynch.
Mick Mars, absolutely. And I'll tell you why I say that. Because I saw him with the other Brian from, I think, the 3rd row in Great Woods, whatever, Xfinity Center. And I just watched Mick Mars for the entire concert do so much. He was not just creating one guitar sound. He was always creating 2 or 3 different guitar sounds. That was just so much the foundation of that. The guy is really incredible. I mean, he carries a huge load in that band. And
that'll be fun to see. I'm looking forward to that show.
He's amazing to see.
If all of them sound like crap, as long as he does his stuff, I think it's going to be a good show. Well, Derek, did you have any pick ones?
Nope. Good.
Well, thank you again. Hang back for a second, Amy and Tom. But I wanted to say thank you both. Thank you, Derek, for jumping on. I know you're feeling under the weather today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So we appreciate it. So we're gonna once this gets published, we'll work on it. We're gonna get it out there, probably on the BNaz business chat platform, and then we'll put some snippets out on our other platforms, and then we'll put it on our YouTube. So we appreciate you guys joining us. I just hearing the passion behind your voice is why I'm doing this, is to hear people really be excited about what their product is, and who's behind it, and what your strategy is, and where you've been and where you're going. So thank you again for both of you. Thank you to the listeners and all our supporters and all of our followers. We really appreciate all you and all the feedback. So thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you guys again real soon.